Alright, so for this presentation, I will be expanding on the idea of same-sex marriage, and my name is Brianna Pouts. Alright, so to just get into things, it was in 2015 when America finally legalized same-sex marriage. This came as a shock to some and a relief to others. Over the years, the LGBT community has grown and has had many supporters behind it. And of course, with a new movement comes new arguments. There are some out there that fight against the movement, whether it be for their religious beliefs, political stance, or personal ideas. But this does not stop the LGBT community from fighting for their rights and equality in society. In 2020, there are now 29 countries with legalized same-sex marriage. In one country where it is legal in some jurisdictions, and that is now Mexico. 18 of these countries were actually legalized before 2015. Some go as far back as 2000s, and that is actually the Netherlands. And some political moves were taken even before that in some countries. For example, in Belgium, the parliament offered some rights to same-sex couples through registered partnerships in 1998 before legalizing it entirely in 2003. And Canada has given some same-sex couples most of their legal benefits in 1999 before making it national-wide in 2005. In Sweden, gay couples were allowed to register for civic unions since 1995, before an overwhelming majority from a parliament voted for legalizing same-sex marriage in 2009. In 2008, there were 30 states in America having a constitutional ban on gay marriage, and 14 states with state bans on it. These were all eventually deemed unconstitutional by the 14th Amendment, where it constitutes, and I quote, equal protection of the laws. The 14th Amendment, which protects against racial discrimination and reproductive rights, also defends gender discrimination. One of the biggest arguments against gay marriages is that children are supposed to have one father and one mother. So far, what we found in research, which is hard to find on this topic due to the fact that every family is different, no matter it be a homo or heterosexual couple, and there are many different circumstances in the family dynamic itself. But the only disadvantage that we have seen so far in research is discrimination from the outside world, and it's mainly found in schools, by teachers and classmates, sometimes even extended family and other relationships that these kids might have. But you can't necessarily blame this on the parents themselves, because this is the fault from society around them, not necessarily the parenting ability that they have. Some benefits of this lifestyle of the homosexual families is encouragement for adoption. So it gives these kids a home. Sometimes it leads to even a more accepting household where kids feel like they can be truly who they want to be. And two parents, no matter what the sexuality, oftentimes give more financial and mental support in the whole family dynamic. The next topic I'll be talking about is human rights. There is over 1,000 rights and benefits that was withheld from homosexual couples due to illegal marriage. In 1983, a lesbian couple is confronted with a spousal rights issue when one of them is in a car accident and the other is denied the right to care for her. This is just a small example of a basic human right that we take advantage of that was taken away due to inequality in illegal marriage. Benefits such as Social Security, tax, veteran, employee, and many others could not be given to these couples without the legalization of marriage between the homosexual couples. An example of this is before 2015, if your partner has dedicated their whole life to the military and eventually passes, the partner will not get any of the military benefits that their other partner worked so hard to get. Basic human rights, like owning a home, having a job, and adopting a child, could have been taken away before the legalization of gay marriage and their rights, because discrimination was not protected against. discrimination was more allowed, and a business owner could fire or deny employment to a man or woman just because of their sexuality. These basic human rights and benefits that are being taken away is basically calling these homosexual couples a lesser human than heterosexual couples. Now going into sexuality and religion, since this seems to be one of the bigger arguments. Yes, you do have your right to religion, but gays also do have their rights too. So the Bible actually talks about marriage quite a bit. In Ecclesiastes 4:9, it says, "Two are better than one, because they have a good return for their labor. If either of them falls down, one can help the other up. But pity anyone who falls and has no one to help them up. Also, if to lay down together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone?" Not once did he say anything about the gender or sex of the partners themselves. He just supported the idea of marriage. There's also the quote in Colossians chapter 3, verse 14, which says, "And over all these virtues put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity." These are just some examples in the Bible talking about marriage. Of course, there are some examples that say, like, a man should honor his wife. He does include genders on those, but he doesn't always specify exactly which gender is which in a relationship. And to kind of expand on that idea, a golden rule that has been said in the Bible is love thy neighbor as thyself, which does not say love thy straight neighbor as thyself. It just says love thy neighbor as thyself, and neighbor referring to all these people walking the earth with you. Also, a huge part of the Bible is lack of judgment. We are not supposed to be the ones judging other people's choices. As it says in Proverbs 2:1, in chapter 2, "A person may think their own ways are right, but the Lord weighs the heart." We are not put on here to say what is right and wrong. We are here just to love one another. There are people claiming to be Christian and shaming the LGBT community, but that is not what true Christianity is. We are supposed to love no matter what and support each other here on this earth. In conclusion, same-sex marriage isn't too different than different-sex marriages. I stand by the equal rights, benefits, and treatments to all human beings, and that cannot happen without the legalization of same-sex marriage. There are still struggles today in society where someone is not treated equally because of their sexuality, because they're just being who they are. But same-sex marriage is a necessity to our government and society to make us stronger and a more welcoming world. We all have our problems, we all have our arguments, but most of all, we all share love.